Hi there. Today we're going to be unboxing two Tamron lenses, the 28 to 75 and the 70 to 180 G2 lenses. So let's get into it. The first thing you're going to notice about these two lenses is the sticker on the top of the box. You can see it says Tamron 6-year warranty. That's because this was purchased from an authorized Tamron reseller like the camera store downtown. What that means is that Tamron warranties this from defect for 6 years because they control the distribution of the lens. They made sure that there were no drops or spills on the lens, that there's no excess heat or cold exposure, no impact damage, and certainly when we open these boxes you'll see how Tamron actually packages these lenses to counter that as well. If you purchase from a reseller like Amazon, for example, they don't warranty the lens for the 6 years because they can't control the transportation and the handling of the lens. So first thing you notice is in the box here is the warning labels and the instruction manual. And then the lens itself is packaged very, very well. You can see it has impact packaging on the side. So that's the impact packaging. And then scuff sleeve, make sure that the lens has no abrasion or no nicks or scuffs. So the lens itself is really, really compact. The first thing you'll notice, the design is slightly different. The material is slightly has a different finish on it. It has the inclusion of a programmable lens port. So you can plug this in via USB cable to your computer, and via the Tamron utility software, you can actually program this button to do various custom functions. So you can program it to like aperture control, zoom ring, focus ring control. So various aspects can be programmed via this multifunction button over here. The second thing you notice is that this lens is incredibly compact. Even when we take the hood and put it on, you can see that the entire length of the lens is a really, really compact lens. So what's great about that is even though it's a 28 to 75 f2.8, you can actually carry this extremely stealthily. You know, it doesn't take up a lot. It doesn't have a big footprint on your side, not like the really big Canon and Nikon lenses. They seem to design lenses with much larger hoods. I remember the original Canon 24 to 70 had a hood that stuck out like this much. So that was a considerable difference in size. Even the width of the lens and the size of the lens is different. The back end is shorter and more compact than the G1 version I noticed on this lens. Nice weather seal on the back there, and the entire lens inside is weather sealed, I believe, as well. Including the lens port is like one of those phone sealed kind of units. The USB setting over here, so it doesn't even matter. You can mess water on it, and it won't actually short out. So you don't have to worry about that being exposed at all, right? The lens is a 67mm front filter thread, so 67mm is nice and compact, versus 77mm on the other competitor lenses. So 67mm is actually what the entire trilogy of Tamron lenses uses. So if you look at the 17 to 28mm, and this 28 to 75, and the 70 to 180, all three of them use the 67mm front filter thread. And what that means is you can interchange filters between all three lenses. That's a real bonus for a professional photographer. So definitely a welcome design feature for this lens. The lens focal length is slightly different to traditional focal lengths of like 24 to 70, 70 to 200, right? And we used to like a 16 to 35 on the wide end. So Tamron has done some compromising on the design with regards to the focal length and the filter size, but they still give you that 2.8 aperture. So I'm finding, you know, when you use these lenses, these focal lengths, you're not really missing much. All three lenses cover the entire focal length that one might need as a professional photographer or as an amateur. I don't really find that I'm missing much going to 17 millimeters instead of 16 millimeters, or stopping at like 180 millimeters versus 200 millimeters. I mean, one can just step a little bit closer and then you get the same result. So that's the 28 to 75. Let's have a look at the 70 to 180. So this is 70 to 180. Again, the same packaging on the inside, the leaflets. The impact packaging. And the scuff sleeve on the inside, making sure that your lens is in pristine condition when you receive it, which is great. Here we have again the 67 millimeter filter thread. Very compact for, if you have a look at without the hood. Let me just put this hood aside. If you look at the lens, the size of this lens, let me just put it down over here. That's an incredibly compact lens for a 70 to 180. Just 20 millimeters shorter than the traditional 70 to 200, like I said. But you don't really miss it. I don't find you miss it. Like, I've been using the version 1 for a couple of years now, and I don't miss it. Like, I just step a little closer and there you have it. So having a look at the zoom, oh, it's nice and smooth, very nice and smooth. The focus is very, very smooth as well. And that's a welcome feature. They have not only do they have the custom button on the side here, but you'll notice that there are a few switches over there as well. I don't know if you can see that. Let me just bring that a little closer. You have your custom button 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3 positions for that. So you can program this little button for 1, 2, 3 operations. So for example, you can have this as a manual focus, autofocus switch, and then custom button 2 selection over here. You can program that to have this act as changing the focus ring to an aperture ring instead of a focus ring, which is very, very handy. I mean, the lens is in manual, in autofocus most of the time anyway. And by pressing a button, you can just have this act as an aperture control. Very, very useful for videographers or for photographers alike. Then the third switch over here, you can dedicate to whatever you want. You can change the function of this focus ring to linear or non-linear, for example, right? So you can have various functions attached to it. Now, having a look at this this zoom, as you use a zoom lens like this, and it does have a little bit of weight to it, so it is possible that as you use it, that the lens could creep out like this and extend itself in your bag or on your side. Now, they have a lock switch on the side here where when you activate it, it actually locks the lens in the retracted position over there. So it gives you a nice, secure, compact handling of the lens. Don't forget to unlock it when you want to use it, right? So with the lens hood attached, only so tall, very, very compact for a telephoto of this nature. Remember, it's a 2.8 all the way through the zoom range. So having a look at the lens like this and you're comparing it to something like the Sony or the Canon, those competitors are at least 200, 250 grams more. And that's a considerable size and weight difference between this and the nearest competitor. Also, this lens is substantially cheaper than the competition. And that certainly is a consideration. Not over the long term, because you spend the money and it pays for itself over a period of years. But certainly if you're starting out, or if you're just wanting to keep your costs low so that you can buy other gear that will also be useful, right? Then certainly this will help your budget go much, much further, right? You could buy an extra camera body, for example, with the amount of money that you save from buying the 3 lenses from Tamron versus the 3 lenses from the Grandmaster lenses from Sony, for example, right? So here you have that 70 to 180, and there's the 28 to 75 next to it. So you can see how compact, and I'm actually filming right now with the 17 to 28, in case you're wondering where that one is. So that makes a nice trilogy of lenses. Of course, waiting for the 17 to 28 to come out with a version G2 as well. It hasn't yet. So when that comes out, I'll probably upgrade to that as well. So that's it for today. Join me for more reviews next time.